Alright guys, I'm headed out for a 5 miler. We're 6 days out from the Sledgehammer half marathon out of Topsail. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this run. I'll check in one more time. I'll tell you about the run, but mainly today we're talking about the Sledgehammer half marathon. We're gonna go over the route, my goals, the elevation, all that stuff. We'll map it out. And yeah, we'll talk about it. So let's run the intro and I'll see you in about 5 miles. Okay guys, so I just finished up that 5 miler, but this is not about that. This is about the Sledgehammer half marathon that I'm running in 5 days. Now, this video is going to be a series of videos that whenever I have a race, obviously I'm going to prepare for it. So this series of videos will be called pre-race stuff or just PRS. I know I've already run the intro, so let's get into the first segment of PRS. All right, so numero uno on the list when it comes to pre-race stuff, we're gonna talk about the race itself. Now, the Sledgehammer Half Marathon is named after E.B. Sledge. His nickname was Sledgehammer. He was a World War II veteran that served in Japan, Okinawa, and a couple other locations. That being the case, let's take a look at the race itself. It is obviously a half marathon at 13.1 miles. It is an out and back course along the beach of North Topsail Beach. There are very few turns. There are 3 90-degree turns just after 4 miles. At the 5 mile mark, there is a looping 180-degree turn. And then at the 12th mile, there is a hard 180-degree turn. But overall, the race has 78 feet of elevation gain, so it's gonna be flat. The weather right now is a low of 42 and a high of 56 with a 50% chance of rain. You know, that is 50%. So who's to say what's gonna happen there? I will be prepared for it, but that is the forecast. So in general, the race should be a blast. It starts off at 8 a.m. So we'll be done by, definitely by 10 a.m., right? Starts on the beach, finishes on the beach. That is the Sledgehammer race. So now let's get into part 2 of pre-race stuff. Segment number 2 is just gonna be training. This is where I recap the training leading up to a race. I'll go back about 12 weeks. When I look back at November 2019, I had 3 solid weeks where I was in the high 30s for mileage. First week of December, I had a 42.5 mile week with a 15 mile long run. And that was pretty much my big week to finish out the year. So looking at January, I kicked things off with, I believe, a 36 miler long week with another 15 miler. Then I went into 2 more good weeks with a 16 miler, and just this last week, I finished up with an 18 mile run. That was my recent video. I will go ahead and link that above so you can check that out. I think I made a really cool recap of the 18 miler. But from there, I've got a 2-week taper that I'm taking pretty easy. This last week, first week of taper, I did 2 runs, just like a 2.5 miler and then a 3.5 miler. And then today I did a 5 miler, which you saw at the beginning of this video. So next week, I'll probably only get out once or twice for 2 or 3 miles each, just to get the legs loosey-goosey. I'll do a bunch of stretching. That is my training. And let's move on to section number 3 of pre-race stuff. Okay, so long story short, we're on to number 3, which is gear. Obviously, you need to know what you're bringing, what you'll be using for a half marathon. So number 1, the shoes that we're gonna be wearing. We're gonna be wearing the Saucony Kinvara 10s that I have been absolutely loving for about 110 miles now. They've just felt kind of lighter and a little bit more form-fitting than the Brooks 6s that I was running in, so we will be doing this one in the Saucony Kinvara 10s. Moving on from there, I've got some Under Armour gloves that I like to run in. Got to keep the hands warm. That being said, I will be sporting this lovely piece of material right here. This is the BOA Fleet Feet tank. It's spandex and a couple other things. I think it's called Veritex, but it's very light, it's very breathable, and I'm very excited to run in this. If it does rain, at least I know I won't be carrying some heavy, wet clothes with me. Moving on from there, big Nike dry fit guy when it comes to shorts. Been loving running in these, been running in them for a long time, or at least a couple of months now, I will say. 5-inch seam, really lightweight, seem to dry really quick. The only thing I will add that maybe isn't my favorite about these shorts is that they have a vertical zip for the pocket right in the lower back. Really wish it was a horizontal zip. I don't know. It's just a preference really. So sometimes when I have my gloves on and I'm trying to do the vertical zip and get something out of there, that's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But speaking of that pocket, I will have 2 Cliff Shot Energy Gel mochas, 50 milligrams of caffeine each. But I've been using these exact ones on my long runs in the last 3 weeks. So, train how you're gonna race. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking 2, probably around, I think 5 and 9 miles. Probably have a 3rd in reserve if need be. But, so I will also obviously have something to film the whole adventure. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket. I've been filming with this guy as I run. It's been a good experience. It allows me to get footage out there while I'm running around, bopping around on the trails, bopping around on the road. So that was a long-winded gear section for pre-race stuff, but we're gonna move on to the last and final section. My last section is goals when it comes to pre-race stuff. What am I aiming to do out there? What's my time, and what just, beyond the time and everything, what are my goals I want to get out of this? So time frame, I want to be going in at a 1:41:34. Now that's a very specific number, but when I break it down, that is 8-minute pace for 7 miles, 3 miles at 7:30, and then 3.1 at 7:15. I don't know why it was so hard for me to memorize that. Yeah, that's kind of my goal. My fastest half and only other half was about a 1:55. I'm thinking we should be able to blow that out of the water. So that's our goal. There's not a whole lot of elevation. If the weather's decent, there shouldn't be an issue with breaking that. And hopefully I can keep this pace up. And then finally, I want to leave it all out there. This is something I was kind of hinting at with my time, but in general, I don't want to walk away from this thinking I could have gone faster. But that being said, this video has gone on long enough. I hope you have a little bit of excitement going into your next race. Maybe if you're just stumbling upon this, maybe you're looking at the Sledgehammer half marathon as an opportunity for you to go and test your might. Please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. And as always, ciao for now. That's all. All right, see you in the next video.